And before we underway, just want to let you know Joseph's been our top unit producer over at TonySpace.com. Bring him in right now. Joseph, how's it going today?
Hey Tony, looking for the first time in a few days, focus mostly in on the NBA with the the tournament slowing down until the Sweet 16.
Absolutely, that's right. I got a little bit of a break from the NCAA tournament until the Thursday action. A lot of minor tournaments going on, but you can see Joseph's been on a tear here over the past 15 months at TonySpace.com, combining for 5,129 units of profit, all sports combined. So you find that his link in the description to get on board to one of his long-term passes. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But let's get to our NBA rundown here for action on Monday. We begin here with Hornets and Cavaliers. Cavaliers 11.5, total 206.
The Cavs will be on the second game of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, all with travel. They did just get blown out by Miami, so the starters didn't play a ton of minutes. No starter played more than 22 minutes in that game. They did get Evan Mobley back, and I thought initially maybe he might sit because of the back-to-back, but it looks like he is going to play. The Hornets haven't shown a ton of resistance lately. They're 0-4 straight up and against the spread in their last 4 games. Just 2-8 straight up and 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. This is their 4th straight road game as well. They've been
Hey, we're back.
out.
Yeah, we got froze up there, so let's continue here. All right, we'll continue here. Oh, hang on one second here. We got some error report here. Let me see what's going on here. Give me 1 second. I'll sign right back in. All right, let's continue. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. We got an error here or something here. Stream name is already in use. What the hell is that? All right, give me 1 second here. Oh, shoot. Let's see what we got here.
Second game of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights with travel. They did just lose in a blowout to Miami, so the starters didn't play a ton of minutes. No starter played more than 21 minutes. They got Evan Mobley back in the last game. I thought he might not play on the second game of a back-to-back, but it looks like he's going to go. The Hornets haven't shown a ton of resistance lately. 0-4 straight up and against the spread in their last 4 games. Just 2-8 straight up and 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. This is their 4th straight road game, and they've been traveling a lot as well. I like the Cavs in this bounce-back spot. They're laying a lot of points, but I think after the way they were blown out yesterday, they'll be looking for a confidence-boosting win. I lean towards the Cavs minus the points.
All right, Joseph says the Cavaliers here laying 11.5. All right, let's continue here. Next game up will be Pistons Knicks here. Knicks big 17 total 212.
Yeah. The Pistons have lost each of their last 5 games and will be without Jalen Duren, Simone Fontecchio, Isaiah Stewart, and Quentin Grimes as well. Obviously, the Knicks are still without Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and they'll be without OG Anunoby. But with they'll still all be out for New York. But as short-handed as they are, they're still 7-3 in their last 10 games, just a half a game behind the Cavs for that 3rd seed. They've been really good at home this season as well, and they'll be in their 2nd straight game in Madison Square Garden. With no Duren and or Fontecchio, I could only back the Knicks in this spot, even with the spread being this big.
All right, Joseph Schultz says here the Knicks here laying the 17. All right, next game up here on our NBA rundown will be Celtics Hawks. Celtics 11 total 225.
All right, so if you're gonna be trying to grab the early line with Boston, the night before, you're gonna just continue to be playing a guessing game as far as who's gonna be playing. Last night, they listed Derek White and Xavier Tillman questionable, Holiday out. Now we know that Tillman and White will play, but Porzingis and Brown will actually be out. Boston will be playing their 3rd game in 4 nights, 4th game in 6 nights. But it's not going to have the huge accumulative effect that it has on most teams because they're resting players and they're enjoying a huge lead. Boston's been a powerhouse. They've won 9 straight and 20 out of their last 22 games. Boston also has covered 8 of their last 10 games. Many of those large spreads and while resting players. My Boston handicap has been working and remains the same. As long as they hit their shots and they don't have a really bad off game, or maybe if they're playing, the Bucks or the Nuggets, they're going to win and they're probably going to cover no matter who's resting. They'll probably cover in probably at least 7, I'd say around 8 of their last 11 games. So blindly backing them against the number would probably be smarter than trying to figure out those few games that they won't cover. I'm definitely not willing to try to do that in this game with the Hawks. So Celtics minus the points until further notice.
Celtics minus the points here, minus 11 here from Joseph Schultz. Next game here on the board, Nets Raptors. Nets 7 on the road, total 219.5.
1 sec. Here we go. Okay, so we know any hope for the Raptors to make that final play-in spot. It ended when Scotty Barnes got hurt. The organization has no motivation to win games. They currently have the 6th best lottery odds and are just a game ahead of the Grizzlies as far as lottery odds. So Toronto only keeps their first-round draft pick if their first-round draft pick for this year falls within the first 6. So they're purposely tanking. They're doing a good job at it. They haven't won a game since Barnes got hurt, and they're 0-10 in their last 10 games. Brooklyn fired Jacques Vaughn back in mid-February, hoping Kevin Ali could maybe turn the season around, maybe sneak in one of those play-in spots, but they weren't able to turn it around. They've gone 2-8 in their last 10 games and are now 5.5 games behind the Bulls for that final play-in spot with just 11 games left. I think if one side of this game was going to care more or, and try harder, it'd probably be the Nets. They still do have a coach that is looking for a permanent position, either in Brooklyn or somewhere else. So I think they'll be playing hard still. They will be without Cam Thomas in this game. The Nets should end their 6-game losing streak here, though, even without Cam Thomas. Toronto is tanking and missing 4 starters. I lean towards Brooklyn minus the points in a revenge spot as well.
Brooklyn minus the 7 points here against the Raptors. Next up will be Suns Spurs. It's Suns 12, total 234.
Phoenix has won 3 straight. They've covered 3 straight. They've covered in 4 out of their last 5 games. The Spurs are playing. Well, actually, there's a change here in the last few minutes before we went on. Wembanyama's out for this game, so I'm not messing with the Spurs here. It's Phoenix or nothing. The Suns are getting healthy. They're playing good defensively. The Spurs have been struggling, just 4-1 in their last 5 games. The Suns were up 30 the last time they played the Spurs. They didn't struggle at all with them, and I believe Wembanyama did play that game. The Suns, they do have Denver on deck, so it could be a look-ahead spot theoretically. But I don't think if you're trying to, this late in the season, fight for playoff positioning, I don't think too many teams really get caught looking ahead here. But it is worthy to note that Denver is up next for them. It is also theoretically a revenge spot for the Spurs, although I don't think they're going to be able to get that revenge, especially with Wemby out. Catching a big number for the Spurs, so yeah, no, I'd be a little cautious with the Suns, but you got to lay the points with them.
All right, Joe, the field says lay the points at 12 here with the Phoenix Suns. Next game on the board, Trailblazers Rockets. The Rockets now 13.5, total 224.
The Rockets are the hottest team in the NBA. They're 9-1 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. They're looking like they're really looking like they're going to catch the Warriors. I think they will. I haven't checked the odds, but if they're plus money to make the playoffs, I think that would be a nice little bet. I also think it's insane that Ime Udoka is not in the top 10 as far as odds for Coach of the Year. I thought they were cooked, with how many games they were behind the Warriors and the Lakers, a week or so back, especially with Alfred Sengun going down. But all they've done since is just win. They've yet to lose a single game since his injury. They're just 1 game behind the Warriors for that final play-in spot in the West now. They need to make sure they don't take any of these games lightly against bad teams, because they do have, in their 4 out of their next 5 games, they'll be playing the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Mavs, and those Warriors that they're chasing. So they really got to make sure to pile up these wins versus a team like Portland, especially when Portland won't have Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant, and they won't have Sharp. I believe Ayton and Simons could be out as well. Maybe they've been actually, I think that might be official over the last couple minutes. I'm not sure. Houston has been really good against the spread at home this year, 25-10-1. They will be without Jabari Smith Jr., which they can't really spare too many big men, but give me the Rockets at home versus Portland missing a bunch of their guys. This is easy.
All right, Rockets here laying at 13.5 here against the Trailblazers. Next up here, Wizards Bulls 12.5, total 226.5.
Yeah, these two teams, they've only played once this season, not too long ago, back on March 16th. The Bulls won by 29 in that game. Chicago didn't have Kobe White. He's probable for this game, as well as Alex Caruso, so they may be starting to get a little healthy here. Washington, on the other hand, will be without Kyle Kuzma, Landry Shamet, and Tyus Jones. The Wizards have won 2 games in a row, but one of those games was against a Raptors team that is tanking even harder than them. If I were being honest, Washington has no interest in winning this game. It opened up as Bulls minus 9.5, and it's now up to minus 12.5. And it's moved from a heavy lean to me to a slight lean, but I just couldn't see backing a Wizards team without a handful of their players. Chicago minus the points or nothing in this spot.
All right, Joe says the Bulls here laying the 12.5. All right, next up is Mavericks Jazz. Mavs 7.5 on the road, total 238.
Mavs have won 7 of the last 9 games versus Utah, but did lose by 37 in Utah earlier this season. But as I keep saying, that was a different Utah team pre-deadline. They still had a healthy Markkanen. They had Fontecchio, Kelly Olynyk, and they're just completely different. Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson are game time decisions. This will be an easy call if they sit. If they're in, maybe Utah is going to try to get a home win here. They have lost 4 out of their last 5 home games. This is a front end of a back-to-back for the Mavericks, with the more important game coming up against the Kings. All these games are important for the Mavs because of the standing. So again, I don't see them getting caught looking ahead. This is a game where the injury report will tell us a lot. The Jazz will have a G League squad out there if Markkanen and Clarkson don't play. If they do, it tells us that Utah is possibly looking to compete in this spot, trying to get a home win after, again, losing 4 out of the last 5 at home. They don't like to upset the home fan base too much. I don't really know how you want to word this, Tony, but I lean towards the Jazz if Markkanen and Clarkson are in. If not, it's the easy Mavs lean.
Game time pick here, so keep an eye on the game time. Markkanen in, and if it's Markkanen, and we're looking here at the Jazz in report. Well, we know that Markkanen's in, so that's the pick. So
okay,
Jazz.
There you go. Well, then I'm comfortable taking the Jazz here in the spot.
Yep, Markkanen's in. Jazz here at plus to 7.5. All right, next up is Grizzlies Nuggets. Nuggets 15, total 214.
All right. Hopefully they have more clarity on the injury reports for this game as well. Joker, Murray, Gordon, Porter Jr. all questionable. Bane is questionable. Kennard and Vince Williams out. I don't know how many games Denver will keep resting their best players with only a half a game lead up on the Thunder for that number 1 seed. I don't have a lot for this game. I need more clarity. Obviously, I'd love the 14.5 points with Memphis if all 4 of those guys were out for the Nuggets and Jaren Jackson Jr. plays. But the 14.5 spread tells me that most, or at least some of those guys might play. I'd love to give a pick here, but I just need a little more clarity. I lean towards the Nuggets only because the spread is so, and it's gotten a little bigger, I see. So I'm guessing most of those guys end up playing. And if that's the case, I'm going to take the Nuggets.
All right, still no clarity there. Still Gordon, Jokic, Murray, Porter, questionable. Bane, questionable. That's the key one there for Memphis. So keep an eye on the injuries there. Make sure those guys are in.
I will say this number, not only has it not gone down, it's climbed a little. You know, it seems like some people in the know, it looks like they're going to play. If that number wouldn't be going up, I don't think.
All right, next up we've got 76ers Kings. Kings 8.5, total 221.5.
Sacramento has lost their last 10 games versus 76ers. The Sixers have owned the Kings. I usually like to back a team that has lost a bunch of games to the other, but I don't want to back the Kings in their first home game after a 6-game East Coast trip. This is also the front end of a back-to-back for the Kings with the Mavs up next, so they might be looking ahead. I know I keep repeating this. At this time of the year, I would hate to think a team does get caught looking ahead, but you got to take that into consideration that they have the Mavs up next. I wanted Philly, when I was watching the games, to get blown out last night against the Clippers so that they could have rested a bunch of their players in the fourth quarter, and then this would have set up as a nice bounce back situation. I would have been all over them in this game if that would have happened. It's Buddy Hield should have some extra motivation in this game, going against his old team. The only thing I don't like about the Sixers is that the Kings are one of the worst teams to have to play on the second game of back-to-back because of the pace that they play at. Kelly Oubre is also questionable, so that's one of their best defenders. You're gonna want him in there if you're gonna take the Sixers. But I still think this is too many points, and I lean to the 76ers.
76ers to play here at plus 8.5. All right, next up here, as we close out this NBA card, Pacers, Clippers, Clips 6, total 233.5.
Yeah, in theory, this is a bounce-back spot for the Clippers. The Pacers are on the second night of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, and also their 4th straight road game. This will be the Clippers' 2nd straight home game as well, and coming off a bad loss. I can only look towards the Clippers because of those things. It's a good Clippers spot, so we'll lean towards them minus the points.
The spot here is the Clippers here, minus the points. All right, Joe, let's take a look over at TonySpace.com here for Monday, 11-game card NBA. We got some minor tournament action up there as well. What do you have going over at TonySpace.com? So great results. Top unit producer the past 2 years at TonySpace.com.
Yeah, I've already got my play of the day up there. It's out of the NBA. Also got an NBA 3-pack ready to go. For tonight, I'm going to be a little cautious tonight with all these big spreads, questionable motivation for a lot of these NBA teams. And, so I'm going to try to, just pick my spots here tonight.
All right, indeed. That's what the strategy there from Joseph is. Just going to pick the spots here. So get on board with Joseph Schultz over at Tony'sPicks.com. Click the link in the description. You'll land right on his handicapper page. You can see the green that he's producing great results over at Tony's Picks. The past 2 years, he's been documented here. You can see the best bet on the board, 3-pack up there. Long-term pass will serve you well, and we'll save you some money right now. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout. You'll save that 20% off. Click the link in the description, and you'll get right to his page. All right, Joseph, as always, great having you on the show. Have a great night. We'll catch up for you later for the games tomorrow.
All right, Tony. Have a good one.
As well. For Joseph, I'm Tony T. We'll talk to you guys later.